Look, we've all been there. You're playing Mario Maker 2's Endless Mode, and you get a level that doesn't quite seem to fit in with the rest.
Beat a super expert level first try. Reach the goal after grabbing at least 315 coins? Wait, I don't understand. I don't know what the catch is. What if I try to go to the end? What, are they gonna stop me? What, are you gonna stop me, man? They are not, what? Okay, super expert.
The whole point of categorizing every level in Mario Maker 2 into a difficulty is to make it so you can have an enjoyable experience regardless of your skill level. However, it's become almost a common occurrence to run into a level that for one reason or another just doesn't seem to fit in. This got me thinking, what actually determines the difficulty of a level? Is it the clear rate? Is it the creator's own clear check attempts? Well, today I set out to finally answer both of those questions, as well as provide some information as to what might be going on behind the scenes. How am I going to do that, you might ask? Through the power of science! Welcome to Mario Maker 101. Today, we're going to be doing a series of experiments, as well as doing a deep dive into these guys right here, in hopes that maybe, with a little bit of research, we can understand what exactly is going on in Mario Maker's difficulty selection algorithm. To start off this journey into the unknown, I decided the best way would be through a simple clear rate check. The idea here, very easy to understand. I'll play through one full page, 16 levels of Endless on each difficulty, and note their clear rate prior to me attempting them by looking up the stats through a third-party tool. I'll then get the average clear rate percentage from all 4 difficulties and compare them to each other to see if there's a noticeable difference. Endless Easy brought no big surprises. It's the lowest possible difficulty a level can be, so it makes sense that there just be a bunch of silly levels in here.
Wait, does that say Luigi? I'm playing as that guy. Luigi. Wait, it's pixel art of Luigi. Dude, he doesn't have a mouth. Or arms. Wait, this is it? I like it though, I like it. What? Wait, the orb was the answer, dude? Wait, the orb is the end of this level. It's right here. I got baited. Incredible.
For the most part, nothing really jumped out to me as out of place. After going through 16 easy levels, the highest clear rate of a stage was 100%, the lowest was 41.75%, and the average clear rate of every level in easy was 70.77%. Meaning that there was just under 1 failed attempt per 4 tries across all 16 levels. Moving on to normal mode, I was really curious to see if everything would remain fairly standard or if there'd be any odd levels that stuck out. For the majority of the run, things remained pretty standard here too, for the most part. There were a few exceptions here, however. On my 3rd and 7th levels, I got some surprisingly difficult platformers, one of which was actually impossible without the use of a helmet at the beginning of the stage. This reflected in the data, too, with both of these levels having a clear rate of just 8%, which actually ended up being lower than some of the expert stages I played next. Averaging the data smoothed things out, though, with the highest clear being 50%, the lowest being 8.16%, and the average clear rate ending up at 27.07%, which is a pretty big drop-off from Endless Easy. To me, Endless Expert is quite a unique difficulty. It's meant to represent things that are hard, but not too hard, which puts it in a pretty narrow range in the world of Super Mario Maker 2. If the game only had 3 difficulties, it'd be pretty easy to group everything, but because Super Expert exists, I often find Expert Mode to be where levels go that haven't had a chance to be put in the right place yet. This showed in the data, too. While most levels here were in the single-digit clear rate range, Level 7, a brutal tech level, had a clear rate of just 0.42%. After giving it a few attempts and checking it out afterwards, I found out that it had just a single clear in over 200 tries, making it an extreme outlier. If clear rate was meant to help determine difficulty, this guy must have gotten lost somewhere. Meanwhile, on the other end of the difficulty spectrum, level 12 presented me with a puzzle level that had a clear rate of 17.47%, which was much higher than the total average I found for all expert stages. The fact that both this level and the one I had run into a few attempts prior were in the same difficulty was mind-boggling, but it presented an interesting find. Both levels were difficult to beat, however, only one of them required precise tech. This meant that if clear rate was the sole factor in determining where a level ended up, Many levels, such as this puzzle one, would otherwise be put into the wrong difficulty, so maybe there's more going on than meets the eye. Finishing up Expert mode, there weren't too many more surprises. Since most levels were in the single-digit clear range, the average reflected that as well, giving an average of 6.34% per level, or just under 1/4 of the normal mode clear rate. Going into Super Expert, I wasn't sure what to expect. Was my clear rate of 0.42% actually an outlier, or was it just on the lower end of the Expert clear rates, with Super Expert levels going even further down? The answer? A bit of both. While there were some levels that were brutal in Super Expert, including this insanely difficult wall-jumping tech level that had a clear rate of just 0.12%, as well as a few other levels in the low 0% range, the average showed that most were actually higher. 7 out of the 16 had a clear rate of over 1%, and 4 out of the 16 had a clear rate of over 2%, making the average for all 16 Super Expert levels almost exactly 1%. But wait, there's more. Because of all the Mario Maker level data that has been found and documented, working with D-Steves, I was actually able to get the average clear rate of each difficulty out of every single level in the game. What did we find? That the numbers from this experiment were surprisingly close, and even more so at the higher difficulties, which makes sense. Think about it. For a level to even have a clear rate of under 1%, it has to be attempted at least 100 times. Whereas an easy level, which can be beaten in just a few tries, opens up the door for more variance in clear rate. So, what exactly is an outlier? Well, take a look at this guy.
Very interesting.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Raysfire, that's just an easy level. What's so special about this? Well, that's what I thought too, until I looked at the clear rate for it. That's right, 0.61%.
This is the first level that has shown up using Nintendo's own built-in search for easy levels sorted by clear rate. This is a clear rate of 0.61%. Now, keep in mind, you can see here, I'm filtering by easy difficulty. Okay? While the first experiment was a good start, there were a few questions that still needed answers. How did that level with a 17% clear rate make it into Expert? How did a level with over 5 times the clear rate of that 0.42% Expert level make it into Super Expert? Well, to answer this, we need to do a deep dive into these bizarre outlier levels to see if we can figure out what exactly is going on here. To begin, I started with lower clear rate easy levels. I wanted to see if they were all actually easy or if the game had made an error somewhere. What I found was the game was actually right. The clear rate on all of these levels were incredibly low for an easy stage, with some of them extending down into the average range for an Expert or Super Expert level. But the levels weren't very difficult. In fact, I even found this level that was nothing more than a spike in the ground and the flagpole, titled, "Get This Into Super Expert," which clearly didn't fool the Mario Maker algorithm gods. It was here that another theory was presented in determining difficulty. Unique clear ratios, or the total number of unique people who have beaten a level compared to the total number who've attempted it. So it appears, see, that this right here is proof that there's more going on than meets the eye. Because if you look only at the clear rate, that doesn't tell the full story. Now, if we go to more info here, and we look at the number of clears, right? You can see that, like, a bunch of people have cleared it. It has 30 clears. One single person has not cleared this level that has played it. The only thing that happens here when we filter out cleared versus uncleared is that this Mario 3950 guy, you see he doesn't have a flag, that goes away. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if someone decided they were going to try to put this into Super Expert by dying on it over and over and over again. But whatever they tried, it didn't work. Okay? So, 0.63% clear rate, still an easy, and it is an easy level.
If 3 out of 4 people happen to have no issues on a level whatsoever, but the 4th person is really bad, that doesn't necessarily mean the level is too hard, and that seemed to be the case for pretty much all of these easy levels. Despite a low clear rate, if you look at all the people who've attempted these levels, most actually seem to beat them. Once I had an idea of the types of levels that were hidden in low clear rate easy, I decided to check out the other end of the spectrum, high clear rate Super Expert. While there were a few levels that had clear rates of 50% or 33% due to low play counts, I wanted to focus on levels that had been played by a lot of people, cleared by a lot of people, and yet were still in super expert, despite a high clear rate. For this, I found 3 levels. A Super Ball minigame level, a bizarre Find the Code puzzle level, and this super confusing maze level. While the 3 levels were different in design, there was one thing that unified them: their world record times. You see, I never mentioned this in my first experiment, but when I was looking at the average clear rate of each difficulty, there was another trend I saw: the world record time. Not only did each difficulty get harder on average, it also got longer, and by quite a bit. As you go up in difficulty, the average world record time almost doubles. The takeaway here? Outliers show that while the clear rate is helpful, there's much more going on behind the scenes in determining difficulty. This brings us to our final experiment for the day: the spike test. One of the biggest theories that many people in the Mario Maker community have when it comes to level difficulty, especially for uncleared levels, is how hard of a time the level's own creator had uploading their stage, using their own initial clear rate to seed the level to a certain difficulty right upon its release. It's a fine theory, but I've seen no real proof that this is how it works. However, we're here to do science! And while a theory is great, I wanted to put this idea to the test to determine whether or not it worked once and for all. How am I going to do this? Simple. With this guy right here. The spike test. If you're confused, let me explain. This level is one of the easiest possible levels you can create in Mario Maker that still has the potential for failure. This single spike right here. By creating this level and then failing to clear it over and over again, my goal was to see if it would actually be put into a higher difficulty upon release, before anyone has had a chance to try it. For this test, I decided I'd upload 4 versions, each one being as close to the average clear rate found in the first experiment as possible. The first being Easy Mode with a 100% clear rate, Normal with a 25% clear rate, Expert with a 5% clear rate, and finally, Super Expert with a 1% clear rate. If each level was put into its correct difficulty, this would be pretty good proof that the level creator's own clear rate has a pretty big impact on where a level starts out. The first 2 levels weren't that hard to get up, but I gotta tell you, running into a spike 99 times just so you can beat a level on its 100th attempt takes quite a while. The result? Things aren't quite what they might seem. While the easy and super expert levels were simple enough to guess, the normal version, which had a clear rate of 25%, was actually put into expert, and the expert version was instead assigned super expert, both being an entire difficulty higher than I was expecting. Through some additional experimentation, I was able to find that clearing the level on its 2nd or 3rd attempt would put it into normal, clearing the level on its 4th through 11th attempt would put it into expert, and anything beyond that would always show up as super expert. Through the spike test, we can safely assume that the number of attempts a creator takes when uploading their level does have a pretty noticeable impact on the difficulty it starts out at. So, what have we learned here? Well, I think the best way is to represent our findings through this graph. While it's clear that the clear rate does have a factor on a level's difficulty, it's not the only thing. By playing through lower clear rate easy levels that were short and higher clear rate super expert levels that were much longer, we can also confidently note that the average amount of time someone spends on a level, as well as the level's own world record, can directly impact the difficulty of a stage as well. So, what have we learned here? Well, from our time in the lab, it can be safely determined that all of the following things combined make up the difficulty a level appears in. Level uploader's clear rate, overall clear rate, the unique player clears to unique player attempts, the level's world record, and, of course, the total amount of time spent on a level. Now, there is one more thing here, though, that there might be more going on, right? It's Nintendo that we're working with, and their algorithm for this isn't publicly known. So this is all just stuff we figured out through testing. Anyways, looks like it's about that time, guys. That's all we have for today. But remember, quiz on Thursday, so do your studying. But I heard that if you subscribe to raysfire, you might not have to take the quiz. So consider it.